What is going on out there tonight, Falcons Nation, Falcon World? Happy Tuesday evening, everybody out there. Welcome to the 95 North Sports Machine. I am joined by my co-host, as always, Antoine Smitty Smith in the Smitty Sports Machine. Excuse me. Got another fellow podcaster with us today, Chris Tipmore from A1 Forever Sports. But we got a Falcons legend coming through the 95 North Sports Machine to bless us, man. Everybody, we all know who this is, man. Mud Duck himself, TODD MCCLURE. Welcome to the show, my brother, man. How you doing?
Oh, doing great, man. I appreciate y'all having me on. Down here in Louisiana, I'm in Saints country, so anytime I can get on and talk about my Falcons with other Falcons fans, I'm all for it. So I appreciate y'all having me on.
Man, it goes without saying, man. We definitely appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, man, and chopping it up with us, man. Yes. Smitty, what you got, brother?
Hey, man, you know what it is with me, man. Hey, I'm humble, man. We've got to talk. I've got to, talk to a lot of your former teammates, and we had one on Sunday, and we had a ball with Abe. Man, Abe is a clown. He knows his football, and he's been a big supporter of me and Alberto for a good little while. We got to meet him in person a little bit over a month ago, so that was dope. And hey. We finna have a great conversation. So everybody in the chat, y'all go ahead, drop those questions in the comment box, man. Sure. And we may answer some as the show go on because we got a lot to talk about. But we're gonna let Chris, I think he's on that side. We're gonna let Chris introduce himself, but he don't need no introduction. Chris, tell the people what's up, man.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? It's Chris Tipmore, man, from the show that's cooler and fly to A1 Forever Sports. Where we be generational because it's always time to be, and we don't settle for less because you can always have more with the vision. First and foremost, I just want to say, man, Smitty and Berto, thank you guys for allowing me to share the platform with this Falcon great, it's a Falcon legend right here, Mr. Ring of Honor himself, TODD MCCLURE.
I appreciate y'all, man, the kind words, and I can see now I'm gonna have to work on my intro after that.
Oh man, that comes with time, brother. That comes with time, man.
Yeah, repetition, man. Repetition.
That's all it's about, man. So Todd, man, 13-year vet in the NFL from 2000 to 2012, man. Ring of Honor recipient in 2022, man. Can you just tell us a little bit about how they got you, man? With the videos out, man, they lured you in upstairs, to talk something football related, and bam, the surprise, man. What were your feelings going through that time? I know that, it was an emotional one on camera, but can you talk to us a little bit more about that feeling, being inducted into the Ring of Honor for our beloved Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, absolutely. In 2012, when I retired at Mr. Blank's office, we went to his office and they had the ceremony. And when he mentioned that at some point that I would go into the Falcons Ring of Honor, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And so I'm sitting there waiting, a year go by, and I'm like, well, are they going to go through with it? And another year would go by, and then I started questioning. People were asking me all the time, when are they going to put you in the Ring of Honor? So I got the call to go up there, and I go get invited to go back from time to time, go on trips. I was in Detroit this weekend with some of the corporate sponsors with the Falcons. So I go back from time to time. Well, they start calling me, and they're trying to be incognito and not let me know nothing's up. We need you to come up here. We're going to talk about football. And I told my wife, I said, I don't know for sure, but I think this might be the call, So when we go up there, we go in the room, and they telling me we're going to talk about our teams that we had together, some of the teams we had that, led the league in rushing with Warwick Dunn, with some of our old line mates, with Roddy White. And we're going to go through some film and just talk about it. Dave Archer's there. So we go in the room and we start watching Warwick Dunn's highlights. And I know y'all saw the video. And when it turned and it was time for them to tell me, look, we're not here to do this. We're here to tell you we're going in the Ring of Honor. I tell y'all, and look, y'all going to get me choked up now. But it was like, I'm 46 now, 46 years of emotions and what I put into it, what my parents brought me up to be, the time we put in on a basketball court, the football field, the baseball field. to get to that point, the journey, you know, the ups and downs, and to be able to go into NFL, major sports franchise Hall of Fame. I never would have dreamed it as a kid, and to be there is truly an honor. And I'm just happy and fortunate that I got to be in one city for 14 years, and happy it was Atlanta.
Yeah,
no doubt,
absolutely, man.
You talk about the Ring of Honor, your Ring of Honor introduction. Who was the driving force behind you getting into football, giving you that type mentality to have a long career in football?
You know, I think everything in my sports background goes back to my dad. My dad was a college basketball player. He played at Southeastern Louisiana University here in Louisiana. I think he still holds an all-time assist record there. He could play basketball. And my grandfather, his daddy, was a coach and coached them. My dad coached high school basketball, baseball, and football. He coached college basketball. Now he's a baseball coach back in high school. But he brought us up in a gym. We were raised in a gym. Basketball was our first love. Everything we did in life revolved around sports. My older brother, Trey, who was always better than me, I don't think I've ever beat him in one-on-one game of basketball, but I always pushed to get better. And, you know, it goes back to all that. It's a lot of things. My mom bringing us to church and keeping us grounded in faith. And it's a combination of things, multiple things that got me to that point.
Cool.
Man, that's beautiful, man.
One interesting thing that I saw on one of your podcast videos was your grandfather putting together machines. That was kind of interesting to me. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my grandfather had a high school education. You know, he was bright beyond his time. He had a basketball goal. You know, now hydraulic goals can go up and down. He took the car shocks because, you know, he had 7 kids. So he had to adjust the height. He wanted to figure out a way to adjust the height of the rim, you know, without doing it manually. And he hooked up an air compressor some kind of way. His mind was brilliant, and he made a hydraulic goal before it was even heard of. And then he would always go pick up the kids in the neighborhood. They would jump in his truck. They would go to the baseball field. And he had too many kids to pitch to. So in his mind, he came up with a pitching machine to where, you know, he built it, made it. He said sometimes it'd throw the ball 150 miles an hour, but they got to get reps. You know, he was ahead of his time a little bit.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, Mr. McClure, who was the toughest NFL coach that you played for, and why?
Man, that's an easy question. And if we're talking specific offensive line coach, Alex Gibbs. Alex Gibbs is legendary. Yeah.
Zone blocking master himself, man.
He is, man. And I tell you, he got the most out of guys. Yeah. I can remember, you know, I credit him. He came in, I was a free agent. I forget what year, but when he came in, I didn't know at the time, but he told the organization, if we're going to run the zone blocking scheme, we got to get TODD MCCLURE back, you know, and he never let me know that he felt that way about me. You know, he wanted me to fear him. And I don't know if he did this to everybody, but one day in training camp after a practice, he brought me up to I just signed a contract. He brought me up to his office, and I don't know if I've even told anybody this before, but he goes, McClure, he said, if you don't pick your damn game up, and I thought I was having a pretty good camp. He was like, if you don't pick your game up, he said, I will find somebody to replace you. He said, look at me in my eyes, you know. And he knew what buttons to push. I was a coach pleaser. He knew that would motivate me just to get a little bit extra out of me, you know, whether I had it any more in the tank or not, but he knew what buttons to push, and he would MF you in a heartbeat, you know, to your face on the sideline, but you respected it because he knew the game. He knew what he was talking about. And so a guy I feared the most, Alex Gibbs.
Wow, man. Wow. That's amazing. Gentlemen, before we go any further, man, let's do a quick roll call for those that are in the chat right now, showing Mr. TODD MCCLURE all this love, man. So I'm going to start with the roll call. In the building right now is Marina, William Amy, RJATL for life, the plug. My guy here, Deke Ruffin, Jay, what's happening, number 1. my little man, my son, Mini 95 North. What's going on, buddy?
Hey.
What's up, nephew?
Archangel, Travis Preston, Justin Swisher, Sweets is in the building, Gary Jackson, Horace McLean III, Oblivion Empire, Slinging Wood 29, Bobby Carter, Gene Davis, GGST, Giving Game Sports. What's happening, my brother? Dre True Statement. Miss Lisa Shepard is in the house. Robert Stevenson's Charles B. Miss Carrie, how you doing tonight? Yes. And J Black 142, Reggie C2K. Man, there's a lot of folks in here, man. Our brothers from Out of Your Falcon Mind, Mike and John. What's going on, man? My brothers, great to see Mud Duck on the show. Hey, got any snaps left? Much love to you, to the Falcon.
I'm done.
Ready, man. What you talking, man? Yes.
I'll give you
Petro Washington's in the building. Atlanta supporter, salute to you. Thank you for always tuning in. Pasta Girl, Trick 654. We got a super chat right here from our brother Rakondo, a real Falcon fan. Thank you for the $5 donation. We greatly appreciate it, man. Jack to the Future, Ed Mitchell, James Obleton, Smart Ride. And that concludes the folks that are in the chat right now. Todd, I have a specific question.
Quick shout out.
A certain. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Quick shout out.
Sure.
Horace McLaren III. Check him out on Sports Roundtable. He gives me the honor of sharing my football knowledge on Sports Roundtable with your Falcon Report. So shout out to him. Y'all can catch him every Tuesday from 7 to 9 o'clock. He does this thing on iHeartRadio, 1100 AM. So y'all please go check him out.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. We have another super chat here from our brother Big Low Country Sports, man. What in the world, Bo, man, with the $4.99 bid. Thank you so much, man. He says, please tell Todd that I challenge him to a crawfish cook-off. Please let me know if he accepts the challenge. The challenge out there.
Tell him I'm ready. I'm ready.
He's tuning in live. Big Low, we got you, man. He said he's ready, man. He says he's ready. The man says it himself. But as I was going to say, man, specific date in mind, Todd, January 4th of 2002, man. There's a team that you guys went up to in that cold north who had 16 games without losing a playoff bid. What was it like going into Green Bay in that atmosphere and steamrolling the Green Bay Packers to the tune of 27-7? We saw all of Michael Vick's heroics that game. The one that's burnt in everybody's mind is that getaway sack from Kabir Bajabia-Miller. But you being a lineman in that atmosphere, what did that game mean to you and coming out of there with a victory in Green Bay?
Unbelievable. One of my fondest moments or memories in sports. Because growing up, I love to watch Brett Favre. I love to watch the Green Bay Packers and the way he played a game. And you hear the story of Lambeau and the Green Bay Packers, and to be able to go up to that stadium. And I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys have been up to Green Bay, but it's like you're driving through a little small neighborhood, houses everywhere. People pay their rent by, letting people park in their front yard during Packers season, but you're just driving down these little streets. It looks like it's just a normal everyday neighborhood, and then Lambeau Field pops up. It's unreal. But to go up there, and I got a picture I got hanging on the wall here. I can remember at the end of that game, walking out, the snow flurry started falling down, and looking up at the scoreboard and seeing that the Falcons had 27, and I got a glare on it. I don't remember what Green Bay had. But the first time they had been beat, 7. They had 7 points that game. To go up there, that's historic. That was Brett Favre. That was the Green Bay Packers and their home field where they had never lost. And we go up there with Michael Vick, Algie Crumpler, Warwick Dunn. Man, y'all giving me chills now. That was
yes, sir. That's what it's about. Yeah. Man, that's awesome, man. That is
and I'll give y'all a little side note on that game. So we're in the locker room, and it was cold. It was chilly. Mike Vick did not like the cold. So they got those back plasters that you put on your back to warm up your back. My man Mike had them all over his body, his arms, his legs. He had them back plasters to warm him up, and he was ready. Y'all saw him. He was electric.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a prelude to my next question. What was it like blocking for an athletic quarterback like Mike Vick? And then you said something about DVD. What was it like blocking for an amazing run game like that?
It was some of the best times of my career. I actually saw TJ Duckett this weekend. He was up in Detroit, got to hang with him a little bit. And I hadn't caught up with TJ in a while. Great teammate. It was good to see him again. But yes, blocking for Michael Vick, it was a blessing and a curse. You never knew where he was going to be in the pocket. But if you got beat at the line of scrimmage, my man Mike can make your man miss, you know. And it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to get beat at times. Guys get back there to the quarterback freely. Mike was unreal back there in the pocket. And I tell people all the time, you look at guys in the game now, you got Lamar with Baltimore, different guys around the league. Mike Vick played at a different speed than any of these cats. You know, he was at a different speed. He changed the game of football. You look down the spread attacks, a lot of these teams are going to the RPO. Mike Vick kind of started that revolution. And, you know, you go back to when we had those matchups with Tampa and them making the pregame hype videos with like they're riding a Vic roller coaster, you know, and the kids get scared at the end. I don't want to be Mike Vick. I don't want to be Mike Vick. That was unreal. He was unbelievable. And I just think, and I think Mike would tell you this himself, if he would have spent a little more time in the playbook early, he would have set records in the NFL that would never be touched. And I think if he could go back and do it all over again, he would do it a different way, which all of us probably would.
Very good, very good. Chris, you got something, Chris?
Yes, sir. I want to know now. We've had a high question. We have good questions coming so far coming at you. I want to know, can you illustrate your thoughts after the 2012 NFC Championship game?
Man,
Wow.
you're bringing up some tough spots there because I can visualize it. We're sitting there, and I think we got the ball down the 15, 18-yard line, and I'm looking at the goal line, and I'm thinking in my mind, we've got 15 yards to go to the Super Bowl. And it was a controversial no-call pass interference. I can't remember if it was Roddy or Tony.
It was Roddy.
It was Roddy. You know, and very controversial. And, you know, that wound up being my last snaps in my NFL career and as a Falcon. But to know you were that close to go to the Super Bowl, it's why I wanted to play one more year. I wanted to come back in 2013, but, you know, that's in the past. I didn't come back, and I think you watch a lot that's going on with the Kelsey brothers, and I just watched that their show on Amazon. It's why Jason Kelsey's still playing in Philly. You know, he got to the highest pinnacle. He makes more money. He's made more money than possible, but he got to that Super Bowl and didn't get that ring. His body hurts every day, but he's going back for one more year to possibly better win that Super Bowl. And I respect that.
Man, that's beautiful.
Cool.
Absolutely beautiful, man.
I have another one there, Todd, man. You know, being a guy that is in the meat and the potatoes of everything, the trenches, man, that's where games are won and lost, man. Throughout your illustrious career, who would you say your toughest assignment's been on the defensive line? Who was the toughest task as far as the player next to, you know, in front of you that you had to stop from coming in a pressure situation?
No, that's, you know, my answer is the same all the time. I get asked that a good bit, and I'm sure you guys remember Chris Jenkins.
Oh my God!
Oh boy!
Yes, he was a handful, man. Yeah,
he was, I think he played at, if I remember right, Maryland, maybe in college. But Chris had all the tools. He was 6'5", 320, quick as a cat. I think I watched more film on Chris Jenkins than Chris Jenkins watched on himself because no, I didn't want to be embarrassed. And you know, I was undersized for a center. But I studied Chris Jenkins. I would watch him get in his stance, sometimes the same play 100 times before we played him. You know, I would watch how he got in his stance. I would watch how he wiggled his heel. I'd watch the weight on his fingers, and it's the little things like that that allowed me to be successful. Chris Jenkins was dominant. I saw him embarrass guys, and I didn't want to get embarrassed.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But let's get into this preview part of the show. This is the good part. Last week,
Hmm.
we went down 26 in Detroit, man, and it was an ugly loss. We've been ridiculing the offensive line all week, so we got you on the show. So you're gonna give us your expertise on the offensive line. Going into this game, I think running is they're gonna have to find a way to run the ball because it's their bread and butter. You played on some great run teams. What do you think? How do you think they get this run game back on track?
I tell you, it seems like a simple answer, but the true answer is, so right now teams, they're stacking the box because they feel like they can cover us in the passing game. They feel like they can go play one-on-one or they can play their soft zone coverage, and we're not going to be able to make the plays in the passing game. So they're going to use that extra guy and put him in the box because right now they know for our offense to get going, we have to have our running game. And right now, you feel like Wyatt and Robinson getting more touches. They're stacking that extra guy in the box, so we got to soften it up in the passing game. And but I agree with you. For the Falcons to be successful, our running game has to be good. You look back, I remember when Matt Ryan was a rookie. We had an unbelievable running game. We had a great tight end who we kept involved in the game, and he was able to get comfortable play action passes and go make those plays. And you look back at Matt early in his career, he made those throws. When guys were open, he hit them. You can't miss when guys get open. And I think I saw this a little bit this week. Guys running routes got frustrated late in the game because the throws weren't on target. And, it gets tiring to run those routes and the ball doesn't come your way or it's not on target. So we have to get that running game going to be successful.
Wow, you touched on something there at the last little bit there, saying receivers just lost interest and stuff. We have a tight end in our own right with Kyle Pitts. He kind of looked a little flustered, towards the end of the game himself. I don't know if it's the injury that's been bothering him or something like that, but you could clearly see something was bothering him during the game. What do you think Atlanta has to do to reincorporate him into his 2021 ways? Is it solely on Desmond Ridder making better reads, or is it something that you see that Kyle Pitts needs to do a little bit better in his game?
Teams are going to go in and he's going to be a game wrecker for them. They're not going to let Kyle Pitts beat them. They're going to make somebody else beat them. And that's frustrating. Tony Gonzalez, when he was in his prime with us, teams were going to double team him, but guess what? Tony was still going to get open, and they were still going to throw him the ball. I think if you watch those games last night, Jamar Chase was a guy the past 2-3 weeks. He's been frustrated because he wasn't getting the ball. So we went and sat down and talked with the coaches. They moved Jamar Chase around from the slot. They moved him outside in motion in the backfield. So we may have to get creative a little more with Pitts to be able to get him some balls. And, those things are confidence too. Once Ridder and Pitts get in rhythm, it's just going to snowball and they're going to be able to build off of that.
Indeed.
Cool.
Indeed. Cool. Yeah, and also getting back to the run game will help limit some of those sacks. You don't want to send Ridder through too much trauma too soon, I believe, too, man. 7 sacks is a lot on a rookie-ish type quarterback, because it's almost like an extended version of his rookie season. But the Falcons have to get back to running that football, man. 128.3 yards per game, and which is 9th in the league right now. It's going to be tough, but we have to get back to it because I believe we have to get Ridder some easy throws to get him in rhythm and comfort, correct?
Man, absolutely. And, when I was playing, I used to get frustrated when the media would come back. You see 7 sacks, and what's the first position group you think of that, who calls the sacks? It's the offensive line. And it wasn't always our fault. There were plays in that game where Ridder's got to get the ball out. You got to throw it. Guys are open, and the window to throw that ball in the NFL, it's like that. And if you don't get it out, then those guys are having to hold on to their blocks a little bit longer, and you're gonna have those problems. And it could be a hot route. It could be a receiver not running the right route, so he's not where Ridder wants him to be. So he's got to hold on to it. So it's a combination of things, and I think each group has to get it fixed for us to be successful on offense.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Man.
That is some great insight, man.
JAGUARS, man.
Yeah, man. Traveling across the pond, as some would say, over to London, playing a very, on paper they look very similar to Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Trevor Lawrence, in his own right, he's not really living up to the hype of the number one overall pick. He is struggling this year. I think he's only thrown for 736 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs, has a 84 quarterback rating, completing over 64% of his passes. What do you see the Atlanta Falcons defense doing to fluster young Trevor Lawrence in this game? The Falcons is a team that also are struggling yet again in the sack department, but can you see Atlanta doing anything creatively this week to disrupt Trevor Lawrence coming off his performance against the Houston Texans?
I think so. And I think, I watch this game now as a fan, and it's easy to sit back here and be critical of what you think you see and what you don't see. But, I've talked to some ex-teammates, and I think you guys see it. Everybody sees it. Our pass rush right now is just, it hadn't been great. So we have to, like you're saying, we have to do some things to create pressure to get guys there. It might be mixing up look, because we don't have a guy like John Abraham. You guys talked about John Abraham early in this broadcast. We don't have a John Abraham on our Falcons team this year.
Right.
That's one piece that we're missing. John Abraham could cause a lot of havoc on a passing team. So we got to create it. You look at Calais Campbell, my man Calais, watched him this week, stopping the run. He's unreal. He's not John Abraham in the passing game when it's third and long. So they're going to have to get creative and try to get sunshine out of his game in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that his, keep him on first and second downs as an edge defender, setting the edge, and continue doing the great job that he has been, bringing everything back inside. But on passing downs, I like to see, the creativity, like you mentioned, having him shift inside. I think that's where he has the most success, when he's paired with Grady or even Omenyata, as we've seen Omenyata's effectiveness show up in this Detroit Lions game. It was very disruptive this game. So, yeah, a combination like that is what I would love to see come to life in Atlanta. Hopefully in Jacksonville we can do that. So Lawrence has been sacked 6 times thus far. The Falcons, unfortunately, have been sacked. Desmond Ridder has been sacked 12 times. So something's got to start moving in the needle of excitement as far as this pass rush. And I think it starts with, like you mentioned, the creativity on hand with this Falcons defensive staff, man.
Absolutely. And I hope they can get it fixed and get it heading in the right direction. It's going to be an early morning for us on Sunday, but I'm looking forward to it and hoping we can go get that win so I can talk trash to the Saints the rest of the day.
How would you like to see some of the young guys on defense be used, like the Zach Harrisons, the Arnold Abercades, the D'Angelo Malones? I would like to see more time for them.
Yeah, you got to give them a shot. You never know what kind of star you got until you give him the opportunities out there on the field. And, sometimes that's how guys' careers get started. You put them out there, you're not quite sure that they know everything about the game. But if they can go out and make plays, then you give them more opportunities. So give those young guys opportunities and see if they'll shine and help our defense, because everybody's in it together.
Indeed.
Facts. And that started at the top. Going into this game, how do you think Arthur Smith has to pursue this game from the head coaching position, from the head coaching standpoint?
I think the biggest thing Arthur has on his plate right now is morale, that locker room. It's easy. When we had a good start, you go 2-0, and then you lose this one. It's keeping everybody upbeat, because I could clearly see some frustration offensively from some of our skill guys, and you have to keep that mindset that, the guys that want the football in their hand, that they're going to get it. And when they're open, you got to get it to them. So his biggest challenge is keeping the confidence high, getting everybody in that offensive room to believe in Desmond Ridder and pull behind him, because he's going to need everybody to believe in him. Desmond Ridder has a long ways to go to be a really good NFL quarterback, but he's not going to get there if everybody in that locker room doesn't believe in him.
Very good point.
Facts.
Something that we've been talking about does. We're going across the water. How much trust do we have between quarterback and head coach right now? We definitely need to see some more of it. Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And offensively, that running game can solve a lot of problems, temporarily. So you get that running game going and you get some big yards. It's going to open up a lot of things in the passing game. It's going to open up Kyle Pitts in the middle of the field. So I think the emphasis should be getting that running game going. It's going to take pressure off of everybody.
Right. Control that time of possession as well. Be an extension of the defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
What would your current assessment be on our current state of our offensive line? We drafted rookie Matt Bergeron in the second round. How do you see him gelling thus far with the guys with the whole offensive line? Do you like what you see so far from young Matt Bergeron at the guard position?
And I've watched him a good bit. He's athletic. He's big. You know, being a rookie offensive lineman, everything, and it's probably at every position, but I can remember being a rookie offensive lineman, everything's happening so fast. And you go into a hostile environment. I'll tell y'all, it was loud in Detroit this weekend. That was the first time they've sold out, you know, that the stadium, and I think they sold out their season tickets this year. But that place was loud. And you put that on top of being a rookie, seeing everything happening so fast in front of you, you tend to get away from your techniques and the thing you've been practicing on. But I like what I see in Bergeron. I think he's going to be a guy that can play for a long time in the NFL. They didn't have a good game. The offense didn't have a good game. And when you give up 7 sacks and you don't give the running game going, the offensive line's taking some heat, and they feel it. You know, they just got to go make sure that they're better this week.
Todd, I got a two-part question right here from two folks in the chat. Bobby Carter asked, do you believe in this offense? And then we have Alberto Molina asking, Todd, what do you need from Arthur Smith to call a good game?
You know, if you told me I had to bet everything I have on this offense right now, I'd be a little bit skeptical. I think right now, because of the inexperience with Ritter, we're vanilla. We're predictable a little bit. And, you know, I talked to my buddy Tyson Clabo. We talk a good bit, one of my former teammates in Atlanta. And I told him the same thing. I'm like, Tyson, before the snap, I can tell you what they're about to run. And I know if I see it, defensive coordinators and defensive that prepare for them, they know what's coming. They know what's coming. We're real simplistic right now. But I think a lot of that has to do with Ritter and the comfort level they have or the confidence they have in him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
That's tremendous insight, man. You're hearing it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Before we get into the X factors, man, we're gonna take a couple more questions from the chat. So y'all keep dropping those questions, and we'll just keep answering until we get to the X factors. But y'all had one of the best run teams with that DVD combination. How does this run game, how does it match up against that one, if that makes sense? Because you talk about a mobile quarterback, a power back, and a dual threat back, and we have that right now. So how do you think that measure up to that team in 2005? I think it was.
Man, that's one of the best rushing teams of all time back in 2005. But just with the combinations we had, with teams had to respect Michael Vick. That he would, you know, the bootleg. Was he going to give it to Dunn? Was he going to give it to Duckett? Or was he going to keep it out the backside? And that held that backside defensive end. And Warwick and TJ Duckett had seams up the middle that were just unreal. I think we played in 2005, we played St. Louis in the playoff game. They couldn't stop us. That was one of my favorite games I ever played in because every play we ran was getting 10, 15 yards. Then we had hit the home run. That was a very special combination we had with DVD and those guys. You know, but they have to find it. They have to gel. We got to get Robinson going. We've all seen it. When you get the ball in his hands, he's one cut away from taking it to the house. So we have to get it in his hands more. Even if you feel like you're forcing it a little bit, give him that opportunity. Give him the ball and see if he can make 2 guys miss and take it to the house because we need that on offense.
Definitely facts. Big facts.
Great.
Yeah, man. He's one block away or one just shifty move away from being gone. Like 75 yards, gone.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. If they keep
Mm-hmm.
feeding him, he's going to have those big runs.
Speaking of Bijan Robinson, I mean that he was the talk of the town before the draft, leading into the draft. How do you feel about him being the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft this past year? Do you like that thus far? You know, obviously you like what you're seeing, but did you want that as the pick for the Falcons going into April's draft, or did you see the Falcons potentially going in a different route?
You know, I like it. I know everybody right now, the old timers saying, you know, you don't take a running back that high. And these Saints fans are killing me, talking about don't put your money in a running back. Well, they wouldn't put their money in Alvin Kamara, and he's been suspended. And to me, a hungry young running back that's trying to get that big contract, he's going to run for you. Yeah, and you look at guys like Ezekiel Elliott. Once he got paid, he slowed down a little bit. They just don't want it as bad. So you got Robinson on a rookie deal. He's trying to go out and prove himself so he can get that big contract. I like the pick. You know, as long as he stays healthy, which he's put together, he's a specimen. I like the pick, and I think he's going to produce for the Falcons.
That's a great answer.
Indeed,
That's
man.
a great answer.
Indeed.
Before you answer that, I got a question right quick for Todd.
Go ahead, brother.
A lot of fans, they're kind of, not up in arms about run blocking and pass blocking. Can you give them an inside look as to what's the difference between each of those? Because a lot of the run blocking guys, the run blocking specialists, they lack a little bit in the pass protection game. Caleb McGarry, he's a great run blocker, but he needs to work on his pass blocking. Can you give us an inside look as to how to y'all know what I'm trying to say? Differentiate those.
Yeah, the reason why tackles can go make so much money, the guys that get those big contracts, is because they can run block and they can also pass block. With the NFL being, a pass-oriented league right now, you have to be at a pass block to be successful in the NFL. It's two totally different approaches. But if you can't pass block as an offensive lineman, you're not going to last very long. He definitely has to get better. Right now, he's struggling on the right side of that line, and I don't know personally if he's a tackle. Not everybody can play that spot. You're out on an island. Your technique has to be perfect, and the amount of confidence that you have to have in your pass set, trust it, and go execute it is unreal. And I've always had respect for my teammates that have played outside on that edge, because it's not easy. I promise you, it is not easy to be out there on that edge trying to block some of the best athletes in the world. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have confidence in it.
Man, that's a gem right there.
And it's crazy because I've seen Tyson Clabo and Travis Claridge. I've seen both of those guys grow to be very good at that position.
Right.
Clabo is one of the best.
Happen.
Yeah, he's one of the best, and I'm going to have him on my podcast that I'm starting up, Snapback with T-Mac, this week. So y'all make sure y'all go follow that. But Tyson came in, and he was a guy that got drafted by the Denver Broncos, got released by them, went to the New York Giants in the same year on the practice squad. They let him go. He went to San Diego, was there for a couple of weeks. They let him go. Denver signed him back the following year, sent him to NFL Europe. Then he comes back from NFL Europe, signs with the Falcons in 2006, and he still had to prove himself.
Sure did.
He came in as a nasty guy that wasn't going to take anything, and he was going to piss defenders off, and he came in and earned it. And then once he got the respect of the coaches in the front office, he was able to master his craft. And he became one of the most, me and him on the field together, it was like having two coaches out there. We were making adjustments on the field in game, and you don't get that all the time. His knowledge and, his confidence was just unbelievable. And one of my favorite teammates to ever play with.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Todd, you just threw me an alley-oop, Todd. You just threw me an alley-oop, brother.
That's a tough question that you gave.
Oh, man. Harvey Dahl, Tyson Clabo, Keenan Fournette, Roberto Garza, Travis Cartledge. There's a lot. The Falcons have been blessed with having some of the better and outstanding guards in this league. John Asamoah, another young cat. Who was your favorite lineman that you lined up? Or who was your best running mate? Let me just put it to you like that. You spoke so candidly about Tyson Clabo, so I'm figuring the needle's probably moving towards him. But who would you say was that your go-to guy right next to you in your playing days?
I can't pin it down to one. I talked to Roberto Garza yesterday. He's probably going to be my second guest on. I'm going to have Keenan on at some point. Me and Keenan started together. Keenan was right there to the right of me. And we talked about Alex Gibbs earlier. Alex came in, and I can remember Alex being in the front of the offensive line room, and he pointed to Keenan Fournette. He said, "Boys, I want to let y'all know." And he was pointing at Keenan. He said, "We have a thoroughbred right here." He said, "We're going to get him on their best player, their best three technique, and we're going to run the football right behind him." He said, "I'm just letting y'all know. The rest of y'all get y'all's blocks. We're running behind Fournette because he's going to take care of his guy." Keenan was unbelievable in the running game. He was a guy that could pick guys up and move them off the ball. And then Roberto Garza was one of the strongest human beings I ever played with, and he still lives to this day. I don't know if y'all can look up Roberto. Some of the stuff he does now is unreal. But Roberto was really brought in to replace me. I want to say Roberto was drafted. I think he came in with Big's class. They came in together, and he was going to be my replacement. So, when Roberto came in, I always told myself, because I didn't have the best older guys when I was a rookie, they didn't necessarily help me out. They may have tried to steer me in other directions, but I always told myself if I got to be an older player, no matter if a guy was going to be brought in to replace me, I was going to help make him better.
Oh, man.
So,
that's unbelievable.
The process, helping Roberto, the front office found out, you know what? We're going to move Roberto to guard, and we're going to have both of these guys on the field.
There we go.
So Roberto was another one of my great teammates. Harvey Dahl. Harvey was another made man. He wasn't.
He took no shit from nobody, man. Right there. Oh, God.
He wasn't a superstar from the beginning. He came in and made his reputation. And guys, I'm telling you, D linemen feared playing against Harvey Dahl because he was going to come clean them up if they were standing around the pile. He was going to take their legs out. He took them out of their game. They were worried about what Harvey Dahl was going to do to them. And, dude was just an unbelievable off the field. The Nasty Boys is what they called us in with Clabo and Dahl and Justin Blaylock.
Oh, yeah, man.
That was one of the funnest groups and the best offensive line rooms that we had. We were so tight, not only on the field, but off the field. We hung out all the time together. And it was like having 7 or 8 brothers that got to go out on the field and play a game together.
Man, that's awesome, No doubt. Got a couple super chats here, man. One from everybody's favorite Uncle Steve's Lounge, man. So, hey, folks, man, if you don't know, man, you're going to know now. Uncle Steve's Lounge, man, one of the better podcasts out there, man. Great Falcons content, great mind. Uncle Steve has donated a $4.99 bid. We appreciate it very much. He says, "What's up, fellas?" Todd, one question. He goes, "In your NFL, what was your favorite on-field moment in your great career? And number 2, would you come back, please?"
I'm going to answer number 2 first, and that's a hell no. My body can't take it. Number 1, my favorite moment in an NFL, we talked about the Lambeau Field game earlier. Yes. I think, to me, my fondest memory was Seattle that same year, that playoff game. We go down like a minute, 20-minute, 30-something on the clock, and that game was back and forth. And you go from feeling like, man, we just lost this game. We're not going to the next round to, we're back in it. And then Matt Bryant kicks a game-winning field goal. That roller coaster of we're out of it, we just won this ball game, y'all giving me chills again talking about this moment, but that was my fondest moment in the NFL.
Man, oh, that was amazing. It was Tony Gonzalez's first win too.
Yeah, if y'all remember, it was Roddy White and Richard Sherman were talking so much trash.
Yes, sir.
And when you got Roddy White going, that was the wrong thing to do. You got Roddy White talking trash, you better be ready to backpedal and run deep because he's coming.
Oh, yeah,
the excellent of execution, as he named himself, man, and rightfully so, man. Roddy White, another Falcons legend. Roddy, if you're watching, man, we would love to have you on the 95 North Falcons talk show. So, man, definitely, man. But we got another super chat here from our brother Travis Preston with the $5 bid, man. Thank you so much for donating to the stream and joining us tonight. Says, which current offensive lineman in the league would you like to play with and why?
Man, I tell you, we talked about it earlier. Jason Kelsey. I know they're getting a lot of hype, with their podcast and two brothers going to the Super Bowl. But I watched his deal on Prime, and I related so much to him as a player, his approach, being a family man, bringing up the guys around him, the guys that he plays with, and his respect for the NFL game. Sometimes you see young guys come in. They've been great athletes their whole life. People told them how good they are. They get to the NFL, they don't spend the time they need to in the playbook, in the field, taking care of their bodies, and then it's gone like that. I've seen plenty of guys that were more talented than I was come in, and their window was short. But to see a guy like Jason Kelsey who has done it, and our body types are similar. He wears the same number that I wore. So I relate to him, and I respect. I think he's in his 13th year now. How good he's been year in and year out for 13 years.
That's cool.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
But hey, let's get to these X factors right quick, man. Let's get to these X factors.
I got one more super chat. I'm so sorry, man. I got one more super chat over here. My bad, brother. And this one just snuck in. I don't know, for whatever reason, I can't bring it up. It's from my boy, Big Boy Brewski, man, with the $9.99 bid, man. Thank you so much, man. He says, what's up, fam? A1. And, of course, the legend, Mud Duck, man. Folks showing you a lot of love over here in the chat, man. We definitely, appreciate you taking the time, man, to join us tonight, man. But, Smitty, as you were going to say, please.
We're going to get into these X factors right quick, man. And it's going to be a good one, man, because I think we're going to have 4 different ones. But we're going to start with Chris, since he is one of our special guests. Give us your X factor, Chris.
My X factor may sound crazy to you guys, but it is going to be the Falcon defense. I need the Falcon defense to stay strong. I need them to generate pressure on Trevor Lawrence, get him off his spot, make him as uncomfortable as can be. The Falcon defense is not a slouch. As in passing yards, the Falcons have allowed 510. That's 4th in the NFL. We're talking about 170 yards through the air. Completion percentage, 58.3. Hey, man, I need them to continue to play. I need them to continue to step up, man. The 3 games they have been able to, do what it do. This game is probably going to be the best quarterback that we faced, technically. So as far as like skill sets and everything. Last time we played them, so we only played them once. Last time we picked up the victory 21-14. I need the Falcons defense to continue to do what they do. Like I said, man, 287.7 yards per game, which puts them 8th in the NFL. They're a top 10 defense right now through 3 games. We need to see more of it. And my X factor is the Falcons defense.
That's a good one. Berto.
Man, my X factor for this game is Drew Dahlman. Drew Dahlman, you are on, I hate to say hot seat, but man, you are on the hot seat, man. Last week, 7 sacks. And again, like Todd was saying earlier, that's the first position that you look at, it's the offensive line and stuff like that. But Drew has such an important job at calling the right protection schemes or protection sets, noticing where the blitz is coming from. Jacksonville, not that great at getting after the quarterback, only 5 sacks thus far this year. They have a handful in the middle with Fatowski, their nose tackle. I want to see how Drew Dahlman does this game in a game against Jacksonville. I want to see him bounce back and actually call a clean game, give Desmond Ridder the cleanest pocket that he can possibly have with these protection sets and stuff like that. I would expect him to just recognize where things are coming from a little bit better than we did last week. So this would be a good redemption game for him to clean a lot of the things up from last week. And overall, the offensive line also, man, just try and keep Desmond Ridder upright. So the X factor at the moment right now is Drew Dahlman for me.
I'm gonna go to the top of the food chain. I'm gonna go head coach Arthur Smith. I think you've got to get the trust back with that run game. You got to call an excellent game this game because Jacksonville, even though they're young, they still have a lot of athletes on defense. So you have to game plan as to how you're going to get this run game to work, whether it's throw screens, whether it's running more to the outside, but you're going to have to pick it up with the run game because the run game is your bread and butter. So I think Arthur Smith is going to have to dial up a hell of a game. To beat this young Jacksonville team. And don't forget, Jacksonville has a lot of weapons on offense and they have strong players on defense. But Todd, who is your X factor for this game?
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of you, Smitty. We talked about him earlier, Bijan Robinson. It's time for him to have a breakout game, and I think he's capable of it. And I think with a kind of a short week with travel to London, the game plan is going to be a little more simplistic. Everybody knows we got to run the ball better. So I think they're going to see if they can put the ball in his belly time and time again and see if he can get those big runs. So Bijan Robinson is my X factor this week.
That's a good one because 10 carries for 33 yards, that's not going to cut it.
No,
Oh, man.
Running back core had 17 carries between the two for 45 yards.
Yeah, we got to be better there. Anybody that knows anything about football, you're not going to be successful if you're only rushing the ball for 45 yards a game. And we have to be better there.
Right. And they ran for 211 last week, so that was a big drop-off.
Drop-off.
I got a question right here from one of our folks in the chat for Todd. Question for Todd. You are number one on the clock. Who are you drafting? Mike Vick or Matt Ryan?
I love it. I love it.
I didn't hear that question. No, I'm not falling for that trap.
Oh, man.
I can't do that. Both of those guys, they were my quarterbacks at different times in my career. I can't do that. Y'all might have to ask me off the air, but I can't do that.
Just plead the fifth. I agree with that.
You look back, I think at some point, both of those guys will be inducted into the Ring of Honor for the Atlanta Falcons, and I think that speaks a lot of what each of those players meant to this franchise.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Matt Ryan, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of that, I think so.
I think so too. And of course, I catch that heat all the time from Saints fans. They're gonna talk bad about him. I think his last year he had in Indy. I hope it doesn't hurt him because you look at his numbers and you look at his career. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Matt did it at a high level for a long time, and my true belief is he deserves a gold jacket in his closet.
Very good.
Now let's get to the final portion of the show. We're gonna give you a little bit of spotlight, man. Tell us a little bit about your podcast that you have coming up, and what did you get the idea to start doing this?
You see everybody's doing it now, and I haven't always. I've got 4 kids, and I'm not one that's just gonna sit down and talk about myself and talk about my career. And, my wife kind of encouraged me to get going, get old teammates to come on and talk about football, because at some point all you're going to have in life is people's memories. Well, if they can go back and they can turn on an old podcast or they can YouTube, Google, it's forever, eternity. So my kids and my grandkids and people that possibly could forget about me, they can go back and look and have a glimpse at my life and a huge portion of my life in the NFL. And I look forward to what I miss most about the game is the guys, the locker room, hanging out with the guys. So it's going to give me an opportunity to get some of my old teammates, and we're going to sit around and tell old stories, talk about the good old days And that's what I look forward to the most. Snapback with T-Mac. We're on all platforms. Go like and subscribe on YouTube. The podcast is on all podcast platforms. We also have a Facebook, Instagram. We might even have a MySpace. I don't know. I have to check on that.
Oh, damn.
What?
OnlyFans. No, we might create OnlyFans. But no, if you go type in Snapback with T-Mac, look forward to having y'all come along. We're early with it.
Hey, I'm going to make it easy for y'all, man. Y'all know how I do it. Y'all go directly into the description of this video. Go ahead and click that link to his channel. Go ahead and press that subscribe button, press that notification bell, because we're going to support this brother, man. He's supporting us, so we're going to do the same, man. Go to the description of this video, but y'all know how to do it. Y'all already knew that. But Joy said, what I got on my custom. Atlanta Falcons sports machine teeth.
Yeah.
Shout out to my homegirl.
That's dope, man. Hey, we got another $5 bid over here from my boy Kinfolk Reese. Thank you for joining it, donating to the stream, brother. We definitely appreciate it. He says, Todd, can I get a signed jersey? It's from my cousin, so write it to Kinfolk Okuda. Kinfolk Okuda is the biggest supporter for Jeff Okuda, man. He's highlighted that name since we got Jeff Okuda, man. He's been a strong supporter, but Kinfolk, we appreciate that, man. Smitty, before we part, predictions for the game on Sunday? Score predictions?
Prediction. This is a tough one.
Oh, baby.
I think this is going to be a defensive struggle. I think the Falcons defense can hold it. But I'm going to go 2017 Falcons defensive struggle.
2017 Falcons. A1, what you got?
I got 23-16 Falcons. 23-16.
Todd?
I'm up now. Ooh. I'm never going to bet against my Falcons. And
there we go.
You look at Vegas, and I think what Vegas has it at a 3-point game. I don't bet, but I like to look. It's crazy how close Vegas gets on some of these things. So I'm going to take the Falcons. They're going to cover the spread. Give me 21-19 ATL.
No doubt.
That's fine,
Berto,
man.
you last.
Brother, man, the last time I went last, man, I was the laughing stock, man. So last week I picked a blowout. I took the Falcons 38-21 versus the Lions because I was that freaking confident in Atlanta's ability. We were going up against the Lions team that was pretty banged up in a lot of important and key areas. This time around, Jacksonville's pretty healthy, man. They got a lot of pieces over there, a lot of fun pieces. We'll be going against an old familiar foe there in Foye or Olakun. We get to see Calvin Ridley again, man, see those guys shine. But I'm like Todd, I don't go against my birds, man. I want to pick a close one, 17-14 Falcons, man.
I like it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man. But right quick, man, before we get out of here, man, I got to give a shout out to my homegirl, Joy. Blink and Stitch. Y'all can go check her out on TikTok. Y'all can check out on Twitter at herlitself23. This is where I got the custom shirt. It was a gift, so I thank her for it. But if you want a custom T-shirt, file like this with the Falcons retro logo, just hit up, man. Good price. Can't beat it.
See the shirt, man.
Oh, I'm too short to stand up.
The old bird. I like the old bird, man.
Oh, man.
So again, y'all please like this video. Go to the description section, just like I always do, man. Any Falcons content creator that's in that link or in that description, y'all please go check those guys and ladies out. They do their thing. They work hard just like we do, and they put in the blood, sweat, and tears. And they are a big supporter of this show and other shows. So y'all please go check them out. And like I said, the Snapback with T-Mac, the link is in the description. Y'all please go subscribe, like, and y'all drop some comments while y'all at it. And I've already seen people in the chat say they've already subbed to it. So
that's
shout
awesome,
out to y'all.
That's what we love, man. Absolutely.
Hey, look, I'm going to let y'all know I'm not going to be a one-hit wonder with you guys. I'm going to come on. I enjoyed this time together tonight. So anytime you guys want to have me on and it works with my schedule, I'm coming back. I'll be back. I love you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That's love, man. That's love.
Hey, no
before
doubt.
we part, Smitty, I just want to announce something right quick.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Yeah, man. So tonight we'll wrap up for a little bit of a time my appearances with Smitty for a little bit. So I just asked the fans that you please continue supporting Smitty. He's going to have a lot of great hosts on come Tuesday night and post games. I just got to step away for a little bit. Got to pay attention to some other things in life and get those things situated in the right direction. But definitely still look out for Smitty and his great content. I'll be back as soon as I can, and can't wait to rock with you guys again. But I'm going to close it out, Smitty, if you good. Everybody else is good. Todd, we'll just ask you to just hold on with us for a few more minutes. I'm going to close the show out. And, yeah, man, so to everybody that made this stream so successful tonight, man, got over 180 eyes, man. I please ask that, man, you go and you support Todd McClure in his podcast. So please, man, it's in the description of this video. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Yep.
George just
hit
put
that
it in the
subscribe
chat.
button.
So go to the bottom of the chat. You will see the link. Go ahead and click on it. Press that like button. Please subscribe.
Absolutely, man. So with that, man, thank you to everybody that took the time out tonight to come and rock with your boys, man. We definitely appreciate it. So I'm going to give you guys back your Tuesday night. So everybody enjoy. See you next time, man. Peace.
Thanks, y'all guys.
Yes, sir. Bro, that's the second time balloons ended up